Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is, if getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Sometimes riders feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Remember the fallen host, Sergeant Dave. After the survival instincts of a 10-ton transport vehicle rollover accident in the Parwan province of Afghanistan in 2004, he emerges and returns to the state.
I'm back with a vengeance. I'm Sergeant Dave with the Remember the Fallen show, where we will be drilling down on topics like the effects of Agent Orange on our Vietnam veterans, veteran suicide, the conundrum of Kill 22, the flip side of the coin on the rules of engagement, Judicial Watch, and much, much more for the intriguing mind.
Indeed, as he navigates through the bureaucracy from returning veterans from the global war on terrorism, he gains a new perspective and a renaissance that he'll share with you. A compelling fever of enthusiasm to all patriots across the windswept fields of America the Beautiful.
Hey, the Remember the Fallen show with Sergeant Dave. I'm at the studio in Seminole County, and I'm here with the Republican candidate, Florida House Representative District 28, where 70% of our Seminole County citizens, 1 out of 3 homes, have a veteran connection. And that is the reason, the premise, why I brought Colonel David Smith, United States retired Marine Corps. He's the Republican candidate to my show today. And Dave, the first obvious question I would like to ask is, Colonel, why are you running now when you really supposed to be retiring somewhere down South Florida? You served 30 years. Why aren't you down South Florida in your flip-flops just kicking back? Why are you running now?
Well, Dave, that's a great question, and I appreciate you having me on the show today, and hope your listeners get something out of this. But I tell you, I'm running for the Florida legislature because I've lived a life of service. I guess 30 years in the Marine Corps wasn't enough, and I look around and I see the things that need to be done in the state of Florida to help the people, in particular here in Seminole County, but certainly veterans all across the entire state of Florida. And I look at the things and say, hey, if not me, who? So that's why I'm running, and we're running very strong, and I'm appreciate the help of a lot of fine people that are working for me here on the Florida House District 28 campaign.
Well, you hear that, brothers? He's got our back. He's got our 6. Okay, so now that you're in the campaign, so how is the campaign going, Dave?
It's going very well, and your listeners can learn more about the campaign and certainly more about me and my career and my upbringing by my website, which is www.electsmith28.com, and that's the number 28 because I'm running for House District 28, but electsmith28.com will tell them a little bit about me and a little bit the priorities of the campaign and what I hope to accomplish for the people of Seminole County and veterans across the state. We're doing very well. I'm blessed to have the Dennis Lima, also a Marine, who's our Seminole County Sheriff, has endorsed me. 5 mayors in Seminole County have endorsed me. School board members, county commissioners, Soil and Water Board, and other people in our community that are just lending a hand. This is a real grassroots campaign. Our core theme, I guess, if we had one, is friends helping friends, and that's the way you win. That's the way you're successful at a grassroots campaign.
That sounds like a hashtag, huh? Hashtag friends helping friends. Well, great. You know, Dave, I love hearing that type of skill set that you have that you're bringing to the legislature. That is outstanding. And so, Dave, what other next events you have coming up? Because you did mention grassroots, and this is the time of the year where, the cold weather's behind us, spring is sprung, the weather's getting nice, and people want to levitate to certain grassroots events. So what grassroots events do you have coming up?
Well, we always have, I tell you, Dave, we do a lot of Meet the Candidate events where we just, we tell people, leave your checkbook at home. It's not a fundraiser. Just come have coffee and donuts with Dave, something along those lines. We do a bunch of coffee and desserts in people's homes. So you can find out about those events by my Facebook page. Most of the day-to-day events on the campaign go through Facebook. The core where issues and my positions on certain legislation, that you find that on the website. But day to day, follow me on Facebook, and you can find me at David Smith for State Representative, and you'll see listings of events. We do have a couple events where we'll have later this month. Just say big. We'll just do the big ticket items. And it won't cost you a dime. We have a booth at the Geneva Farmers Market on April 21st, and I'll be there all day. In Oviedo, at the Oviedo Mall, one of the great outdoor events on May 24th is the Barbecue Blowout. So you can come listen to some great music, eat your fill of barbecue, and stop by my booth and quiz me on any questions you might have about why I'm running and what I hope to do in the Florida legislature. And if you want to come to one of our other events, find that through Facebook, or you can message me on Facebook, or if you prefer with email, send me anything you have, or at David at alexsmith28.com, and that's my email, which is David at alexsmith28.com.
All right, Dave, meet the candidate. He's going to be out there, boots on the ground. He wants to shake hands with you, tell us about his story, but he mainly wants to learn more about you and your family, what needs that the community needs. Now that I can call you Dave, I never met a Dave I didn't like, right? Now, being 30 years in the Marine Corps, right, you must have a destroyer boat load of funny stories, right, Dave? Can you share one with me and our audience now?
Well, sure. And, I spent most of my career as a helicopter pilot, so most of my stories are related to flying. And the second half of my career, I was what they call an acquisition professional. As a matter of fact, I was in one of the first 10 that the Marine Corps acquisition officers that the Marine Corps ever selected. But, if somebody were to put me on the spot and say, Dave, who are you? What are you? My reflex answer would be, I'm a helicopter pilot. And I tell you, I had the opportunity, and I know most of your listeners will know what a Huey is. Now, most people equate the Huey to Vietnam service, and boy, there was a lot of them there, but Vietnam was my father's war. All my combat time is flying in Iraq. And believe it or not, the Marine Corps is still flying the Huey, and they're rolling off the assembly line today. They don't look like the old Hueys, not quite, but 4 blades, glass cockpit, great, big, more powerful engines. But I spent my career as a helicopter pilot in the mid 90s. We'll say 95. No, it was 94. I was on a deployment to Okinawa, Japan, 94, 95, and then my squadron sent me down to the Philippines. And we were providing, it was a VIP support. Hueys get that VIP mission quite a bit, and anybody colonel or above and gets a special ride. And we had these tricked out comfy seats and all that kind of stuff. So we were had 4 Hueys. We were providing VIP support for the Secretary of Defense, Secretary of the Navy, the Sink Pack Fleet, almost every 4-star admiral and above, to include the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. And they were all in the Philippines for the 50th anniversary of the Battle of Leyte Gulf and MacArthur's return to the Philippines. So big ceremony. It's a big deal to the Filipino people, and we were providing that VIP support. Well, one day I happened to have the Secretary of the Navy on my aircraft, and the secretary or the chairman of the Joint Chiefs was in another aircraft, and we're flying them around to multiple Philippine villages to visit with people. And so we're out one day, and we were going to be on the ground a couple of hours, and they were walking in a parade and had a reception for dignitaries. So we're, as pilots and the crew chiefs, we all just stay with the aircraft. Well, we had so much time to kill. My crew asked me, "Hey, can we, go out in the Ville and check it out and see what's going on?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure. I'll stay here with the aircraft. You guys just, come, be back in an hour." They were supposed to take 2 hours to get back. Well, so all my crews leave to go out in the Philippine villages, and then all of a sudden, the Secretary of the Navy and all the delegations start coming back. And they were an hour early, and it's one of those things that your career low light starts flickering in your eye, like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? I got no crews, so I had one of the other pilots from the other aircraft, and so I said, just go start your aircraft, and so they're firing up, and I'm putting a life vest and a helmet on the Secretary of the Navy. His wife's with him also, and she's trying to do it herself. She's got her cranial on her helmet on her head backwards, and she's got her vest upside down. I mean, it was because normally crew chiefs are doing that kind of stuff. I mean, I fly the airplane. I don't know what makes them work, and I don't deal with people in the back, but the crew chiefs weren't there. Well, my crews had heard the aircraft start up. So they came running back to the aircraft, and we got everybody put in, and both airplanes started and away, and they knew something was wrong, or something. It wasn't as smooth as it normally is, but we got the mission done, and we're back on the ship at the end of the night, and we're eating chow in the Navy wardroom. We were aboard ship, the USS Germantown, and I get a call on the 1MC. For then Major Smith report to the captain's stateroom, and I'm like, here it is, I'm done.
Pucker factor.
Yeah, I may be the first Marine officer in history to walk the plank or something, and I'm like, I got ratted out by the Secretary of the Navy. I'm sure that's what it is. Well, I walk into the room. There's the captain of the ship, and there's the Marine colonel that's there, and who was kind of in charge of the delegation and shepherding them around. And they called me in and said, "Major Smith, we just wanted to personally express our thanks to you on how well things went today." And I couldn't believe it, but it apparently was completely oblivious to the SecNav and his wife, or at least they didn't rat me out. And I actually got. And I know your veteran listeners will know, I got what they call a special fitness report for outstanding achievement, which was probably, I absolutely was convinced that my career was over. But
I think the best move was just make a lot of noise, right, Dave? You just had the other guy start up the other helicopter, right? You showed some action in there, and you were smooth because they didn't know what was going on. Only internally inside your career you thought was over, right? Well, hey, that's a good one. Hey, how about something more serious, more somber? I know you said you flew in Iraq. I mean, to me, that is brave. I mean, you're flying around in a gas tank. That's what I think of what a helo is, a Huey. It's a flying gas tank, all right, folks? Let's be honest, right? He's sitting up there, any soldier and can take it down nowadays. All the Taliban, all the insurgents, they all have shoulder-to-arm missiles now, and you're just an easy target, man. So you're definitely a brave person to fly so many missions in Iraq. So could you share with me one of your more serious helo mission stories that was in combat?
Sure. Well, I agree with you about the Huey's pretty thin skin, so they don't do well under fire. But I was supporting 1st Marine Division when General Mattis, Secretary of Defense Mattis, was the commanding general, 1st Marine Division, and I was we would base with his units, and I was attached to 7th Marine Regiment for a few days, and we supported a combat attack on an area called Salman Pak, Salmanpak, Salman Pak in Iraq, about 25 clicks south of Baghdad, and it was a terrorist training camp. They had, we got to walk the ground afterwards, but they had a 737 in the middle of the desert. They had railroad cars on railroad tracks in the middle of the desert, and strings of school buses. And they used this to teach hijacking. Now, this was April of 2003, so 9/11 was still fresh in everybody's mind, and I have to say this was probably the pinnacle of my Marine career flying, is being able to be involved with a 2-battalion attack by 7th Marines on this terrorist training camp. I mean, we were calling in artillery fire. We were Navy F-18s and Marine F-18s were coming in, bombing the place. Even the Air Force got involved. But we essentially wiped that area completely off the map. And I had the regimental commander and the operations officer. We were in 2 different helicopters, moving around the battlefield, watching that entire area get destroyed, and then on call, the Marines moved out in a pincer movement and just wiped that place off the ground. And we were able to. It was all, of course, all done at night. We were all flying on night vision goggles and tracer fire and all that kind of stuff's very interesting on night vision goggles, and I was happy to participate in that attack. And after 9/11, that was felt really good to punch back.
Wow, NVGs at night must have been like 4th of July at the peak. That must have been an intense moment. All right, Dave, now we're going to go to the next segment of the show, and this segment's a little bit, we're going to get a little comical. This segment is things that make you say Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. In other words, what the Foxtrot? And let's talk about this, Veteran Secretary of David Shulkin, what just recently happened. There's been different stories of he resigned, and then there's stories that he got fired. And so I'm going to let Major Dave take over this story. You might know a little bit more than myself, so I'm going to let you take over. Fill us in what you know of what happened that causes this segment of Whiskey Tango Foxtrot.
Well, I think President Trump's been pretty clear about it, and the man had to go. Secretary Shulkin, and he apparently was doing a fairly decent job, but and they had an IG investigation into his travel, his official travel that included his wife, and we all know in the military in particular, you can't even have the appearance of impropriety, and when he got called out on something and couldn't defend it, and he had to go, and one side will say he was fired, and one side he said no, he resigned, and that's certainly Washington gamesmanship, but he's out, and the president's personal physician, Admiral Jackson, is been nominated to replace him in the VA. Doctor now in charge of the VA whenever he gets through his Senate confirmation, and it'll be interesting to see how his executive skills will be able to play out, and his focus on maybe medicine that will help veterans, because that's clearly an issue and has been for years. Anybody that's ever done any business or had any family member go to the VA know that this is not news. This is not new at all. The VA has struggled for years, and I wish him well. But boy, I tell you, it's like a turnstile with that job.
Okay, here we are again. Oscar Tango Mike on the move. And here's another caption of things that make you say Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, and that is the Roseanne sitcom about a Trump voting working class mom in middle of America. Who would think, Dave, with all the negative Trump stories in the news today, and now you have a successful pro-Trump show. What's your take on that?
Well, I tell you, of all people, who would have thought it would have been Roseanne Barr that would have such a successful show? I think we can all remember her from the 90s and her inability to sing the national anthem, and what an embarrassment that was. But, boy, isn't it great to see a pro-Trump TV show? I certainly think it's a crack in the wall of the far left that control Hollywood, that people are watching the show and like the show. But of all people, Roseanne Barr, who would have guessed that? Glad to see it.
Great, yeah, I was too. I was just shocked at the ratings when everyone. It was the buzz. It was the total buzz on all talk radio. It was the total buzz. And Good Morning America, I couldn't believe how much time they spent on it. Go for it, Roseanne. Love to see the show. And the next one, funny caption I have here, it shows the infamous Mr. Facebook Zuckerberg like peeking through his eyes on his cell phone because he has to testify in Congress. What did you take on that one, Dave?
Well, I tell you, Facebook really screwed up with this data breach they had, and I think it's good he's being held accountable. We all know about being held accountable as Marines or veterans, and he's got to go testify before Congress on I think it's next week on the 11th, and he's definitely gonna be doing some apologizing for everything that Facebook has done to their customers, and it's going to be very interesting what he has to say for himself.
Yeah, it was very interesting. Prime Time was showing you how to delete your Facebook page. Is this a turnaround for all the profit shares? All the people that have been behind Facebook that became practically millionaires over it, and now Primetime TV is showing people how to delete your Facebook page. Amazing turnaround. What's going on with that story? Okay, the next caption that makes you say Whiskey Tango Foxtrot is a scene. This cartoon scene shows you a third world country. Looks like really bad. Disgusting background. You can tell they're homeless. Tarps everywhere, trash everywhere, people sleeping all over the place. And believe it or not, it is in San Francisco, and it's Nancy Pelosi's district. What do you say about that, Dave?
Term limits, Dave. That's what we need. Term limits. And there's enough room on both sides of the aisle, but man, oh man, Nancy Pelosi, she is a poster child for why we need term limits in the U.S. Congress.
Drain the swamp. Drain the swamp. Drain the swamp, right, Dave?
Absolutely.
Exactly. Term limits. I'm all for. You got my vote right there. Finally, yes, we get somebody saying it. Term limits, definitely. I'm in on that one. All right, so basically we're just going to let Dave, I'm going to let you end your segment here of the show. We had a great opportunity. That was great that you're supporting where I live. It's my district. It was just amazing. I met you and you said you're in District 28. I found out I'm in District 28, like a lot of us don't know. So let's get out there and let's push the website. Let's not forget his website. It's www.electsmith28.com and go to his Facebook page. Me and him having a race off for Facebook. He's got 3,300. I got 3,600. So I'm gonna give it to him. Go to David Smith for state representative on Facebook. And here, Dave, go ahead. End the show. Close out the show.
Well, I tell you, I appreciate you having me on. I appreciate you letting me talk a little bit about my military career and the Marine Corps, and I want to put that service mindset to work. I got a set of leadership skills from 30 years in the Marine Corps. I have some business experience as an acquisition professional, having managed billions of taxpayer dollars. But I tell you, Dave, what we need in Tallahassee today in our state legislature is somebody with a moral compass. knows right from wrong. It's not going to get pushed around and is going to make the tough calls. And I have that experience as a Marine. I'm going to put that to work for the people of Central Florida.
Outstanding.
All right, it's getting 0 dark 30 for the show, and I'm just about ready to go into rack ops mode. But before I do that, one last promo. So go to Sergeant Dave at KLRNRadio.com for any suggestions you may have for the show. Maybe you know of a veteran that would be great hoorah for the show. You can email me at, once again, Sergeant Dave at KLRNRadio.com. You can also go to my Facebook page and like the page at Remember the Fallen, all one word. And you can also tweet me on my Twitter handle, Sergeant Dave at Heroic Memorials. Or if you're not into that Twitter thing, you can go to my website at neverforgottenmemorials.org and mark your phone calendar every Thursday night until all the troops come home. 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time at KLRNradio.com. Once you pull that up, select shows and tap whatever show is running, and that would be me. All right, fall out, pop, smoke out.